Yeah, Kate Bush. Annie Lennox, probably. I think that would be
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
Absolutely incredible. I'm trying to think who. Imelda May, who's currently, she's got an album out at the moment, and I think she'd be great to collaborate with as well. She's a very interesting Irish artist, much more kind of rock and roll based work. But yeah, I think Annie Lennox. I mean, Annie Lennox's voice is just out of this world, and as a person, she's just so inspiring and very strong and independent, and has done an enormous amount for female music. And I loved her androgyny in the 80s. That sort of really very startling at the time, seeing a woman dressed in men's clothing, but it was really inspiring, and very
Yeah.
exciting. She's great, and I mean, her voice is, oh my goodness.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, I love her stuff too. Um, I listened to your track. I will mention a couple of them, or probably four of them, and then feel free to elaborate on how that composition, that particular composition came together, and what you do, what's the pressure for you. Of course, the first one is Never Be Mine. Why you decided to do that one?
It was one I loved, and I have a lot of people who follow me who also follow Kate Bush, and I really wanted to almost honour that and say thank you very much to them for their support. And it was a track I've always loved. It's always one that if I'm going to listen to one track, it will often be that one. It kind of evokes a lot of different moods in me. And it's an interesting track because you hear it and you read it as a lost love. And it's very easy to just kind of read it as that and not go any further. But actually, she's saying, may have lost this love, but actually, it was much better. It was much better as a dream than it was in reality. And I'm really happy to just carry on dreaming about it and for it not to be a reality. And I love that idea of a bit of independence and a bit of feistiness, which kind of underlies what you first hear as you listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I will do another cover because there's no point really. That was a special thing, and that was a kind of thank you to all the people who are so kind to follow me.
Get you. Yeah, that's a beautiful. The other one is obviously Circles. That's a beautiful piece. All of them are very, very nice.
Circles, yes. I'm glad you like that.
Of course, I love.
I'm glad you like that one. Yes, that now. Funnily enough, I've written quite a lot of work, but Circles came quite quickly during the end, I think, of the last lockdown or beginning of this one. And I just said, right, I'm going to put that one out. It's ready to go out. And the other stuff that I've been working on can wait. But it was just a mood of, and it needed to be done, needed to be said. But I love that one. I love the cello on it, of course, because I love my strings.
What about the ballad?
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. What about the ballad of Lulu Ash?
Well, the ballad is another funny one, actually. That was, Ballad of Lulu Ash. That's a funny one again because I had the tumble dryer on, and when the tumble dryer rotates, it goes dun 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 dun, and I just started da 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 da. And this tune sort of came to me as the tumble dryer was rotating, and I sort of heard this flat line, and it became an Irish sort of Celtic feel to it. And my background is Celtic. My dad was Irish, and my mum was Scot. So I kind of have that in me, but it just felt right, and the lyrics came very quickly and very much my life really, and it felt very good to do. Very good to do. And I was I'm very proud of them all, but I was very proud when that came out, actually, because I think that was the first one after the instrumental. and it was a bit unexpected, so I enjoyed doing it.
Quite sure a lot of people from Ireland, email you back, or you try to get a hold of you to see if you can, play in a theater or space or whatever.
I haven't had that yet, but my cousin's Irish and he loved it, so that was good. That was good for me.
And the last one, Everything You Are. That's another great piece. Yeah.
Well, that will be released with lyrics. So that was my first track, and it was a little bit of a testing the water type thing. But that's the first song I ever wrote, and it does actually have lyrics to it. But I decided to put it out as an instrumental because we'd built up this. Nico, my producer, done this amazing work building up a beautiful instrumental against it. Very cinematic feel, and I just thought, you know what, it's so beautiful, let's just put it out like that. And there is a section which is the spoken section, which is inspired really by Mike Oldfield's Songs of a Distant Earth, where this person is just saying dissolving, and it's so beautiful. So I had this little written piece, and it worked really well with the instrumental, and I'm not sure it would work in a full lyric version, but I really wanted to do that, to have it there. So I might be doing the lyric version in a month, possibly. That's the intention at the moment, is that's the track after the next one. So there's one to release called The Bell Jar. That'll be the next release. Yeah. And then possibly the lyric version of Everything You Are will be after that.
I got you.
And then one in September called The Phoenix.
That's great. And then the idea is to, now you've have released of singles, is the idea to put like an album together, like a whole CD or vinyl record with, I don't know, 8 or 10 songs, or that's the goal, or you prefer to
At the moment, it's going to be singles. The tracks that I've completed, they work as singles, I think. But what I'm thinking that I might do in the meantime is start putting an album together. Because an album, to me, nowadays, an album almost doesn't matter, because you just pick things from Spotify and you don't need to listen to the whole album anymore. You make your own playlists. But for me, an album is a story. It's the same as opening a book. It has a beginning, it has a middle, it has an end. It's a complete entity. And those songs have to work together. They have to complete the story. So the ones I have at the moment, I just didn't feel they were necessarily cohesive. They were cohesive enough and enough of them to make a full album. So at the moment, it's going to be singles, but I think possibly there will be an album coming next year.
Yeah, I got you. And then
she says,
yeah. And then, do you plan to? Are you planning on touring in the fall now that in the London venues and theaters and small places are opening up? Is something important to you to expose yourself? And if you have another, whatever, 6 tracks or 10 tracks or whatever, do you like to play live for people or?
I really enjoy playing live. Yeah, it is lovely having that sort of live audience reaction. And I think that would probably fit with the idea of doing an album. So if I did that next year, I would probably tour next year with that, do some live gigs with that. And in the meantime, if things cropped up, I might do them, but I'm very focused at the moment on getting the tracks out and getting them up to the standard I want them to be, and the exploration of things, often revisiting earlier pieces and having a look at them again, which has been really enjoyable, actually, sort of doing something, parking it for a bit and then coming back with fresh ears. It's a bit like doing a painting where you've sort of done it, you're happy with it, you walk away, you leave it for 3 months, you come back and you go, and you see something new and you feel something fresh. So that's the focus at the moment. Also, just because it's all so strange, we don't quite know what's happening with live venues opening up, and it has been kind of weird just being out, which is something I didn't think of. You sort of think, oh, I can't wait to get out and be able to do things and go to shops, but it has definitely been a strange experience. Everybody is a little bit not quite knowing what to do. So I think once I've kind of got up and running again and feel a bit more settled, that will be a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when it feels right for you. Every person is unique, right? But don't wait too long. Your stuff is
it's
good.
very important.
Yeah.
You know. Thank you very much.
No, I really mean that your stuff is very good. It need to be heard, and of course, I'm not in your life, but if I was your producer or whatever, I would push you to do an album, do another 4 tracks, and then in the fall start touring. And your music need to be heard. It's very good stuff. Don't wait another.
Thank you very much.
Sorry to say that, but don't wait another year or 2 years. It's good. People. I don't know. Time.
Well, there will be music before them.
Times go.
It does, especially when you're trying to release tracks and you're thinking, I'm going to release that then, and then all of a sudden the time has gone and you realise you're sort of missing a whole load of the time's just completely disappeared. But there will be at least 3, if not 4 or 5 tracks released this year.
Yeah.
And then because they are either done or partially done, that gives me the headspace to think about the next project. Because I get very anxious if I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've got nothing and I've got to create, and I like to have a bit of breathing, a bit of calm.
Yeah, absolutely. Any of your kids are into music or not? Nothing to do with music.
They are both very, very musical, and they are both into music, but they don't want to play. They don't want to be in front of people. They don't want to. It's just too embarrassing, which is such a shame. And I've tried to kind of push them, but they have to do what they want to do. And I think that because they know how to play the guitar. My youngest plays the drums and the guitar and the piano, and my eldest plays the guitar and the piano, actually. And I think it's the sort of thing that they may come back to later in life. But when you're a teenager, it's just they just feel very embarrassed being in front of people.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I mentioned a couple of times, for me, I knew I don't know how to play music. I don't know how to sing. I don't play any instrument at all. But just listen to music. I don't know, at least 2 hours a day when I'm doing other stuff, and it's always been important. I knew that I needed to see shows. I needed to see art. I needed to begin interviewing people. I needed to open the radio. I have a lot of ideas of things that I want to do before I go into a next life, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Do
but
things.
One of the things that I'm a massive advocate of is this idea that it's never too late. And for me, that's been quite a big thing. And it's one of the things that people comment on more than anything is, oh, wow, you're so brave to be doing this now. And I think, no, it's not brave. It had to be done. It was a way of expression, that there was no other way to do it. And I write my songs on the piano, but I've never formally learned the piano. I took guitar lessons, but I can read music anyway. And as I said, I can get chords and things and have a good ear. But it's never too late to learn an instrument. It's never too late to sing a song. It's never too late to do anything at all. And I feel very passionately about that. This idea of, oh, well, I'm such and such an age, so therefore I just, I'm just thinking about my retirement, or I'm just thinking about my kids. Or yes, of course, you have your children and you focus on your children, or you have your life and you focus on your life. But when you have that little niggle all the time just saying to you, oh, wouldn't you just like to do X, Y, or Z? It's not something that should be ignored. It should always be explored and celebrated.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a place in your case to be a mom, to be a wife, to be, but it's a place to be an artist too. And I don't know, it's good
Yeah.
to dedicate a little bit of everything, time for your music, time to be a mother,
Yeah,
time.
definitely.
It's important. If you haven't done music, if music wasn't part of your life, what would you have done in your life?
I think at the moment, if I weren't doing music, I'd probably be writing, because I've got a children's book, sort of skeleton sketch of a children's book, which is about children's mental health. Really, it's a story, but it's about a girl who sort of feels very isolated and doesn't feel she fits in. And so I would love to do that, actually, is to write that book, and I probably will. I hope I will.
Why that, if you don't mind, why the idea, the isolation of it, why that particular topic?
I think just because probably that's how I felt, because I was an only child, and I always felt slightly different. And also my dad died when I was quite young, so it was just my mum bringing me up. And I was always daydreaming, off with the fairies, and kind of making up stories in my head. And so I never really felt like I particularly fit in. And I think there are a lot of kids who feel like, there are a lot of adults who feel like that, and it's never ever spoken about. No one mentions, you have a party, you have friends, this, that, and the other, and I can guarantee that if you actually asked your friends and took a poll, if you like, and said to them, do you feel like you fit in? Loads of them would say, no, I don't, and I never have. And you think to yourself, gosh, that person is the life and soul of the party. Why do they feel like that? But they do. And I think it starts at childhood, that feeling. And I wanted this thing of a child to read it and say, oh gosh, that's how I feel, and actually it'll be okay. And that's the thing, it is okay. Even if you never really fit in, you find your people, you find your niche, and you find a way to fit in, but it's not necessarily what you thought in the first place. It's not necessarily the path you thought in the first place. You sort of have society's expectations weighing on your shoulders, even at quite a young age. And you don't have to follow that. You really don't have to follow that. And I think it's important for children and adults to know that you don't have to conform to what society expects of you, or what you expect of yourself, just because you've grown up a certain way or anything like that. So yeah, it's something I feel quite passionately about. Yeah, probably because of my own situation.
Yeah, that's a beautiful, man. The way you put it together into words is very, very well explained. It completely resonates. And you say, if we were to create a poll, 70% of the people would say, yeah, I didn't fit in, or I was the only kid, or I wanted to be different, or I didn't want to conform to society. And it happens to me too. So I was brought in a certain way in South America, in Chile, but I knew that I was different, and I wanted to do a lot of things. And one of the radio was the other thing that I wanted to do. So obviously, I my day job, I make a living doing something very different. But the music, and I'm a risk taker. There's a lot of projects that I want to do in my life, and I need to do them. There's no way around it. I have no choice, right? Some people become musicians, or artist or photographer, they have no choice. For me, in terms of music, I have no choice. So if I'm happy doing a lot of different things, and I conform to the world, right? There's some rules in the world, and there's societies like this, but I do them. But at the same time, I do my own thing, and it gives me like a good mix of be a decent human being in this crazy world that we live in. You gotta do what you like. You gotta do what you're passionate about. You're never too late to start projects. Never too late to start a career or go back to school. And it's like it's. I was like a good example would be I was a terrible, very bad student, and my parents were very pissed off at me because my dad and my mom are kind of well known there in Chile, and now I look back, I wasn't ready to go to school when I was 18 or 20, right? I wanted to listen to music, and I wanna chase girls or whatever, but now I look back, I have 5 college degrees. I studied in the best university in the world, and I got a regular scholarship, and I have done well in my life. I cannot complain. So if it hasn't been for that particular moment, because I was a terrible student, perhaps I would have never come to the United States. I would have never studied in this place. I have never known the amount of music or seen all the 1,000 shows that I have seen in my life at least. So because the fact that I was that way and I am not doing it well, that was the best thing that happened to me. It's very difficult to connect the dots going forward, but it's very easy to connect the dots going backwards. Like, man, the reason it happened to me is I end up in a different place, man. And well, that's kind of all the questions that I have. I as I mentioned before, don't wait too long. Your music is good. You have an unbelievable voice, and you have a nice personality. People need to hear your stuff, man. Don't wait too late.
Thank you very much.
They don't need to be perfect. No, everybody want to do.
Oh, they do.
But some people, some artists, I don't know, wait, I don't know, 10, 15 years between records and other a year. I don't know, their personal life, I suppose, but it's good stuff. It's good stuff. It's good, don't.
It's about feel, isn't it? It's about when it hits that point where you go, yes. And that there is a definite moment when that happens, is you're working on something, and obviously you can overwork, you can overthink, but experience teaches you. And there are times when I'll go, yeah, I can hear something there, but you know what? It doesn't matter. We can let that go. Or yes, maybe that clashes a little bit, but in the whole, it's fine. We'll let that go. So there are little technical things that I wouldn't necessarily get hung up about, as long as it has hit that spot in my gut and my soul where I go, yeah, it says what I need to say, and all the music around it supports it and says what I'm trying. It supports what I'm trying to say. And when it gets to that point, then I can go, yep, time to let it go. That's good.
Any particular?
It would be nice to do an album.
Absolutely.
It would be nice to do. Yeah.
Any venue that you like better than another in London, for example, besides the all the one?
Oh gosh.
You like the Royal Albert Hall better than the Odeon or the O2 or?
Oh, the O2 is very clinical, and it's huge. It's absolutely huge. So you don't. I would love to be able to play in places that have a bit of character to them. So, I mean, if we're talking small venues, places like the Union Chapel, sort of churches and places that have been converted from something else and have some atmosphere, that's very cool. The Roundhouse is really nice in Camden. I don't know whether you've been there.
No.
As it suggests, it's round, obviously, being the Roundhouse. But because it's round, you get a nice vibe, you get a nice atmosphere. And that's what you want, really. I'd much rather have that than something just very, very clinical. However, you know, if somebody offered me the chance to perform, I'm not going to say no.
I need
That would be foolish.
you know, in 6 months from now, I need to, you know, email you back and say, you know, where's the album? Where's the album? I would like to see you, you know, playing somewhere. You know, everybody needs to start somewhere. You know, it's whether all the major artists, people I interview, they started small. They didn't have a manager. They played in coffee shop and then a small theater of 100, 200 people, and then took from there. You know, if you're good at what you do, you want to make it anyways. I don't care what circumstances you have or your upbringing, whatever. It's your life, and if you're good at what you do, you will succeed and do very well in life. That's what life is all about. So, fulfill your goals and
that's what, well, there's a venue down the road called the there's a venue down the road called the Half Moon. It's a pub, but it's quite iconic. It's had the Rolling Stones in there. It's had Kate Bush in there when they were sort of way back in the day. And that's, I think the capacity of that is something like 200 or might be less than that. But it's an iconic venue. Yeah, it's legendary. And that's quite cool. That's the idea. Yeah, I have played there as part of a while back as part of something else as a band, and I was looking at the picture of Kate Bush all the time, just thinking to myself, "Oh my goodness, the people who have stood on this stage is you're following in their footsteps, and it feels very inspiring." But yeah, you want to be heard. I want to be heard. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Is you want your music to be heard and for people to connect. And for me, that is the most important thing. Is just when people say, "I listened to it and I loved it. I really loved it. I played it 5 times in a row. I loved it so much, 10 times in a row." It's an amazing feeling when somebody tells you that, because something that you have created out of your own head and your own gut has made them feel like that. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
All right, great, man. That was I have a great time talking to you, Lulu. Good luck to you. I'm quite sure we'll stay in touch soon. Release your stuff, and I would hope to see you live one day and buy your CD, and
that would be great.
You're very good at what you do.
Thank you.
Very nice talking to you, Lulu. Take it easy.
Thank you, and you, Claudio. Thank you.
Sure.